Woo-wee! Woo! Okay, yeah. Come at me, David Chang. Okay. How am I looking? Alright. Let's do the thing. Growing up, I wasn't super connected with Korean culture, but my mom always made sure to have Korean food around the house. Of course, I grew up loving Korean food, but I gotta admit, it's kind of weird watching Korean food suddenly become popular. Don't get me wrong, I'm stoked to have more access to Korean food, and it's nice to have friends finally realize stuff I grew up on is cool, but I'm still a little bit salty. I mean, when I was a kid, I would get teased about Korean food. What changed? Is kimchi only cool now because white people are making and selling it?
Hi everybody, I'm Hugh Jackman and welcome to the Kimchi Chronicles.
Let's go, let's make kimchi.
All right, so.
Wow.
As frustrating as it is to watch Hugh Jackman make kimchi, it's even more frustrating to remember I don't even know how to make it for myself. I mean, is Martha Stewart a better Korean than I am? So as I begin this journey to try and figure out what it means to be Korean, I feel like it makes sense for me to start with the core of Korean cuisine, making kimchi. To help me in this first step of my journey, I reached out to my mom.
Hi, Dalin.
Hi, Mom. She's about as Korean as they come. She was born back in Seoul, grew up in LA, teaches high school math. She's the real deal. She helped me make sure I had all the right ingredients and coached me through the entire kimchi making process.
Are you ready to make some kimchi today?
Yeah, I have my cabbage ready to go.
Okay. Okay, so this little tip part right here.
The butt?
Well, that's the root, honey. So I'm chopping it off. Then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna cut it and just go at it. Okay.
Alright. So Mom, how did you learn how to make kimchi?
Actually, HAPAKO is the one that taught me because when we came to the United States, I was 8 years old. It turns out the way he did it was really not the way the rest of the Korean community used to it. So I had to learn how to do it. I had to learn how to make it as an adult. You're gonna take your cabbage and dump it in there.
All the cabbage, put it in there.
All the cabbage.
Okay.
And then dump the salt in there.
And then do I have to like stir it? Oh, you're just with your hands.
Yeah, like food made with your hand tastes better, honey. And we're just gonna set it aside and that's it. That's step one.
That's it.
That's it.
So that's gonna brine. And I'm gonna talk to my mom. In Korea, or I guess Koreans here too, why is kimchi such like a big deal?
Kimchi is a big deal because that's our national food. You eat kimchi with every meal, 3 meals a day. People joke about and make fun of like Koreans or Asians like burying their food, but it's legit true. What they would do is take these big clay pots, right? And then they would dig it into the ground and they would be like buried into the ground. Basically it's cold, so it's actually a perfect way to preserve food. And then all through the winter, they would enjoy kimchi, fresh kimchi. And I just remember like, oh my gosh, that time of the year, you just like, everything is cold and you know, it's like, you don't go outside and play, but that winter kimchi was like so good. You could just straight up just eat basic kimchi and I can just eat that as a meal. Kimchi. All right, so now what you wanna do is you wanna turn on your sink. Make sure you have a colander.
Okay.
Dump it completely in and we're gonna wash it. Taste it. How does it taste? Is it still salty? It's slightly undersalted, right?
Yeah.
It's chingawa. Chingawa means like in Korean, like it needs something. And we're ready to actually make the marinade, the actual stuff for the kimchi that makes it kimchi. We want to get a cup of water, a saucepan, sweet rice powder, 1 tablespoon, and just dump it in the water. Now put it over your stove. So we're just gonna stir.
One thing that I've been noticing happening a lot with Korean food and culture in particular is it feels like it's becoming a lot more trendy. What do you think about that?
Food is like one of those cultural things that people like relate to super easily, and so it's a good way segue. So I think it's fun that it's trendy, so people are not going, oh, like kimchi, that's just like bad stuff. In Korea, like we didn't have like cheese. Cheese is like, it's rotted milk, you know, this whole fermentation, like aging process. And then they take a look at cabbage and it's been aged and fermented and they think, oh, that's stinky and gross. And it's like, hello, every culture has their aged, fermented food that they've, you know, somehow they've figured out how to preserve certain foods that are available to them, right? It's a great segue to talk about like differences in culture. Now I'm gonna take a large bowl and let it cool. You have your Ninja I bought you, Dylan?
I have that.
Let's do this. So the things that we need are a large onion, 새우젓, fish sauce. Oh yeah, it's the 3 crab. That's the best. Asian pear, ginger, garlic, lots of garlic. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and now it's ready to blend. Yeah, so we pureed this stuff. I'm just gonna dump all of this stuff in there. You know me, I don't like to waste. This is the gochugaru. Gochugaru. This is not hot. It's just really intimidatingly red, right? Okay, so now you dump it in the bowl and you just stir.
One sec, let me stir mine. I'm just spilling stuff. I'm bad at this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Spill stuff. Make it look like you're really making something.
That is red, spicy looking.
I'm gonna taste it.
Taste it?
Yeah, that tastes like kimchi.
Ooh, wee! Woo!
What do you mean?
It's spicy. It's good. No, it's sweet. It's spicy. It's
But you're tasting
umami.
sweetness, right?
Yeah, the sweetness is there too. It's sweet and spicy and salty. It's everything.
Yeah, like kimchi. It's got the whole family of flavors, right? Okay. Woo! Okay.
Hi, Cade.
Now we're gonna do some chopping. Now grab your carrot. As thinly as I can. I call it the conic sections since I'm a math teacher. It looks like a little parabola. There you go. Squeezed in a little math in there. All right, ready? Now, listen. Hold on.
She's eating.
You're gonna cut this out. So take this, fan it out, and then what you do is you do the exact same motion, Dalin. And then look, what happens, Dalin? Matchsticks. You got some Julian?
Come at me, David Chang.
You see this handful? Toss it in. Beautiful. Nice job. Radish time. This in Korean, it's called moo.
Like a cow. Moo.
Matchsticks. Dump it in. Time to go for the chai. Red onion. Little bunch. Minari. Water wort. I don't know, but smell it. You want it about, okay, the length of my finger, all the way down, and then it goes into the bowl. Bam. Throw it in there. You see, Dalin? Look at the array of colors. Yeah. Now mix. Mix it all up? Yeah, mix.
It smells good.
We're gonna take our cabbage that's been draining the whole time and make sure it's really well drained.
Okay.
Dump it all in and we're gonna mix. You're just now rolling up your sleeve and you're just massaging it in as much as you can.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is my cultural inheritance right here.
So you have your jars ready? I got mine. Just shove it in there and then close it up. You're just gonna leave it on the counter, leave it at room temperature for a day or two. Once it starts, you're gonna see these little bubbles like rising up, and like on the side, you're gonna see these little bubbles, pockets of bubbles. Those bubbles are created because of the gas from fermentation. And then probably, like I said, within the next day, then you're gonna stick it in the refrigerator. Oh, pretty.
Do you have any questions, or do you have any thoughts that I haven't asked questions for?
Yeah, why now? The only thing you were interested in was bulgogi, and you weren't even really interested in kimchi when you were young, but I'm just wondering, why now?
I feel like growing up, I always, I like the fact that I'm Korean. It was something different and special. That said, I never really tried to do super Korean things. I was like content with my level of Koreanness.
For you to get this enthusiasm about it, I'm just like super excited about it because like we get to connect, we get to talk about different things, and you know, hopefully pass on some knowledge that I have.
What does it mean to be like a good Korean? I've been called fake Korean, dumb Korean, bad Asian. You know, like those are things that people have said to me. How do you become a good Korean?
For me personally, and that's really only that thing that matters, really, you're taking the best of whatever culture you have and becoming who you are and just embracing it and being proud of it and not being shamed by it. You wanting to be more Korean means you're actually taking the time to say, I want to understand it. That's like the coolest part. And it's like, that's who you are. You're saying, I'm more Korean that way.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks. I need you to see the finished, how much we've made.
Ooh, look at that. Yay.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. You're a real Korean. You're good. Don't let other people tell you otherwise.
I did it. I'm a real Korean. Love you, Mom. Thanks for your help. I think my kimchi actually turned out pretty good, but I think I need a second opinion to make sure it lives up to real Korean standards.
It's very good. That's not Korean rice. This is mak kimchi. Yeah, it's one of the easiest to make. Whoa, it's got bite. It's nicely fermented. Only thing off is it's a little spongy. I don't know. This will make amazing stew. That's very impressive. Rice, not so much.
You heard it here.
Good job.
Making kimchi was actually super fun. It was awesome getting to learn directly from my mom, even if it was virtual.
Look how pretty! Look at that!
It was also really nice getting a little extra validation from Aunt Stacy.
It's one of the easiest to make.
I feel like now that I can make something that's truly Korean, I'm more allowed to be proud of where my family comes from. It's like I'm finally part of the story too, if that makes sense. I guess I do actually feel a little bit more Korean. And I'm just super stoked for what we get to learn next.